And we are live.
Welcome to the Fantasmagorium show. On today's show, we look back at the legend that was Dick Donner, a Witcher prequel and a Paddington sequel, a trio of trailers, and wait, Steve, there's a sequel to Greenland?
There is, Scotty.
How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. I much better now that we're on the show.
How was your weekend? How was your Festivus of the Americas?
It was fun, man. I did the thing and watched the fireworks and
Nice.
Made some good food, and it was fun.
Excellent.
It usually is.
Fantastic.
I live in a cool place where everybody likes to light off the big fireworks, the mortar kind that go up in the air. So
I wouldn't expect really an America Day without explosions.
America. Fuck yeah.
All right, so shall we just get off the kick with the sad news, but a celebration of a career?
Yeah, before we do that, like we do every day, we always say, please like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and if you would like to send a tip with your comment or question, please do so. www.streamelements.com/phantasmagoriumshow/tip. And if you'd like to see our all of our shows and our audio-only podcast, you can find that. Just visit www.phantasmagoriumshow.com. And with that all down and out of the way, let's jump right in, Scott. It was a downer this weekend. We learned that Richard Donner, who kind of shaped all of our childhoods, when people are talking about childhoods, with his movies, not only directing them, but also producing a ton of movies and TV that we all grew up with. Unfortunately, he passed away. But he passed away at 91. So,
which is a hell of a run.
Good run. Long, rich life. So when somebody says Richard Donner to me, Lady Hawk comes to mind. His run on Twilight Zone, which most people don't realize, he directed a bunch of 5 Twilight Zones. Awesome. Yeah. There were, in fact, he directed the one with William Shatner,
yes,
which was amazing. So and the Lethal Weapon series and all that. He's been a staple Superman, of course. What comes to mind? Goonies. What comes to mind when I say Richard Donner?
Well, arguably the director that put superhero movies on the path of what superhero movies would be for at least 2 decades.
Yeah.
The idea, and also just the faithful adaptation, taking it seriously and moving forward with the earnestness of the original Superman. Obviously, when I think of Dick Donner, I also think about how he was done dirty by Superman 2. Mm-hmm. I've seen both of the cuts for Superman 2. And aside from the ending of Superman 2, I do prefer the more straightforward, serious, not gritty, but certainly more faithful Superman 2, as opposed to the goofier roller skates in a windstorm of Superman 2 that we got in theaters. Maverick is probably one of my favorite modern Westerns. It's just, and probably one of my favorite poker movies as well. If I had to choose, great poker movie. Alfred Molina in that movie is fantastic. Everyone's performance in Maverick just makes me smile. It's a mix of old Hollywood and new Hollywood. And Richard Donner is one of those people that sort of made breakthrough movies in the 70s and was that straddle between old Hollywood and new Hollywood. Mm-hmm. He was the up and coming pup, but he was still, he had cut his teeth in television in the 60s and really got some, like with The Omen, something that was incredible.
I talked about The Omen on Robert Meyer Burnett's show last night. That movie scared the shit out of me. I loved it. That and The Exorcist kind of around the same time. Those movies kind of shaped the way I watch movies sometimes, and I told Rob that. But I'm glad you brought up The Omen.
And so again, with his, as you mentioned, with his producing credits, behind the scenes just as much as he, mostly behind the scenes, behind the camera, but then also in his capacity as a producer, some of the movies that he's brought to screens, and his partner, who is arguably responsible for the subsequent, with Lauren Schuler Donner doing the X-Men series.
Absolutely. I mean, that team brought us some of the coolest nerdy shit that we all love today, you know, and it informed a bunch of stuff that came afterwards.
It's interesting how Richard Donner, his death was confirmed by Variety, though the cause of death was not disclosed. And I was discussing it last night with my dad, and he was like, "So what'd he die of?" And I was like, "Probably of being 91."
Right.
It's
you know,
it is sad.
It is sad, dude, but if we could all live to the ripe old age of 91, we're doing a good thing, right? That's a good run.
Oh, absolutely. And even recently, I heard that he was trying to ramp up to make a Lethal Weapon 5.
Oh, yeah, that was on the docket. So
he was still vibrant and willing to work. And, you know, the body was willing, or the mind was willing, and it was just at a certain point, everyone has to pay the piper, and 91 is certainly for a legend. That it is disheartening, just because we know we aren't going to be getting an original flavor if they do decide to go with a Lethal Weapon 5. But I'm so happy to celebrate his entire filmography.
So yeah, because not only did he give us most of the X-Men comic book stuff that we love, but he also gave us the Lost Boys, dude. I mean, the Lost Boys, right? I mean, he produced that. He produced your favorite film, Free Willy, right?
I love marine life. What can I say?
Right. And Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in that Lethal Weapon series were aces. I mean, I watched that movie to this day. It holds up it just holds up. It's a good movie. Most of his stuff is good. Everybody has a bad day at the office, and that's fine. But for the most part, his filmography is stellar.
Solid. It is definitely solid. And it's in the age-old questions of, is it a Christmas movie or isn't it? I've always, and sort of came out round about the same time as Die Hard, but when you start watching Lethal Weapon and it plays Jingle Bell Rock, I'm like, so this is a Christmas movie. And it's always been in my rotation in December.
No, that's awesome.
Oh, and speaking of Christmas movies, I forgot about Scrooge. I almost forgot about Scrooge.
Right? Yeah.
One of my favorite Bill Murray movies.
Such good films, not only as a director, but as a producer too. So he'll be missed. His wife, obviously, partner, wife. If I'm mislabeling it, I apologize. But she's an amazing talent. She gives us tons of amazing content. Hopefully, her life is, will be extended, and she can continue to give us great films and movies, and and just be a force in the industry. We need these kind of people in this, in this industry that's trying to come back from a pandemic, and you need leaders that can guide the ship, and these are the leaders that I think can guide the ship.
Well, and I think that they're a perfect example of two people who you may not know to see. You may have only seen them or Richard Donner for the first time upon learning of his passing, but him and Lauren Schuler Donner, like, they took the material seriously and ran with it, and it wasn't tongue in cheek, and it wasn't winking at the camera. It was always like, no, this is the world, this is the story, and let's go with it.
Doesn't that make all the difference in the world? At least to me, it makes all the difference in the world. If you're taking an IP, if you actually care, and you can tell who cares and who doesn't. Obviously, they really cared about the material that not only they produced, but obviously he directed because he loved it, right? But I mean, it's so apparent to me when somebody's phoning it in, and when somebody really actually cares about the material they're trying to present. And,
And
Donner
in
was
an
one of the
age
greats.
in an age of subverting expectations and sort of being there being a meta narrative in movies, or sort of deconstructing the idea of a hero, it's like, no, that's interesting, and that's something that I suppose filmmakers can do it. It can work, it cannot, but it is nice to have that baseline of saying, yeah, I'm going to see an X-Men movie. Who's going to be in it? The X-Men.
Right.
Like that. It is a representation of the characters that I fell in love with in the comic books when I was a kid.
Yeah. So,
I keep bringing up the X-Men, but even like with Superman, when I think of Superman, I think of Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Donner did this. The opening credits of Superman is the fucking best. That's where you know Richard Donner, from that opening credits of Superman.
And if you do get the opportunity, the making of for Superman 2 on the Superman 2 director's cut, just to hear him tell a story with that baritone voice and the relaxed nature of any of those behind the scenes for Superman 1 or the director's cut, just a great storyteller and an affable guy.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And like I said, hats off, salute to you, sir. You will be missed.
Hells yeah.
I found this little gem on the internet today.
Okay.
We, like I like to do, I'm actually on the internet sometimes, and sometimes little pops pop up. And I'm a big Val Kilmer fan, huge actually. I think his portrayal of Doc Holliday is maybe one of the best things I've ever seen on film. I know he does this great one-man show of Mark Twain, where he actually gets in the makeup and does a stage show about Mark Twain. I've heard it's phenomenal. So I saw this and it broke my heart. And hopefully this documentary, I don't think it's a series, I think it's just a movie, will land the same way it did for you, the way it did for me. Here's Val. So that comes out later in a couple of weeks. And what did you think about that? When I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, it broke my heart. Because I loved him as an actor. And I didn't realize how bad or how advanced his illness was.
And I was aware of his throat cancer and his inability to really speak, because I don't know if you saw, and this is sort of a tangent taking away from the heartbreak, but I think the last thing that I saw him in was the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, where he plays Blunt Man, because it's like, no, it's silent. He'll play the movie version of Silent Bob, so he doesn't have to speak. And so I knew that, and hearing some of the Kevin Smith behind the scenes stuff, I knew that was the case. But an interesting career to go over. I've heard that he's had his difficulties on set in terms of being a little bit of a prima donna or being a difficult personality, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anyone deserves the sort of illness that he got. And one of the biggest holes that I think will be in Top Gun Maverick is the lack of Iceman.
Yeah, that I don't know how they're going to handle that, and that remains to be seen. Hopefully, they handle it in a respectful way, because I always thought he was one of the best parts of that movie. Anyway.
Well, and he was sort of
that cocky, cock strong. I'm gonna, you have to be that way to be a fighter pilot anyway. But
absolutely. But the rivalry that developed into the friendship after the loss of Goose, and so I thought that would have maintained, and unfortunately, it's not. Again, it's not a matter of the spirit being willing; it's just the body can't handle it. And I wish him, if he is, as it says in the trailer, going through recovery. I hope he has a longer life to create more things that bring us, the audience, a little more Kilmer. And also, just for the record, underrated Batman.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I like Val.
He was okay in the role. I didn't think the writing was sharp in that movie, but
I have a soft spot for Batman Forever.
Yeah, I know. Moving on.
Yes.
To our next piece of news for the day. Lovecraft Country not returning for season 2 on HBO. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, Lovecraft Country. It is so good. So good. I rave about this show all the time. And I was really looking forward to seeing where they were going to go with it. But apparently HBO has said, no, we're not going to renew that. We're just going to move on. Which is disappointing, to say the least, because I really like the show. I thought it was a fresh kind of take on Lovecraftian mystique or mythos, and I thought Misha Green did a great job bringing it to the screen. And everybody involved, all the actors were amazing in it. I thought it was really well done. But unfortunately, so for all of our fans that really liked Lovecraft Country, not going to work. We're not going to season 2, which sucks.
Well, and with season 1, did it end satisfyingly, or did it end with sort of a cliffhanger?
No. Yeah, it did. I mean, it's okay to walk away. You know what I mean? It bowed up in the end. But like I usually tell you, I like living in these worlds with these characters. And so one season, especially a short, like it's truncated like 10 episodes or 13 episodes, to me, that's a short truncated season. And I just wanted more. Selfishly, I just want to hang out with those characters more.
Well, and as we've discussed in the past, just in terms of having those single series where it doesn't necessarily demand a continuation, but still, I can understand wanting more. Absolutely, I've seen shows and they were canceled after one season and with a cliffhanger, and it's like, okay, well then I guess I'll never have a resolution on that particular anecdote. But it's nice that Lovecraft Country actually did have one season and finished its storyline without too much, if anything, hanging in the waiting in the wings to be answered. Because that would have really been unfortunate if they set all this stuff up and couldn't work, right?
But it seems like, and we like IPs that actually had that happen to it. I mean, Enterprise is the one I always go back to. I'm like, dude, if they would have, if they had time to actually plot that out, that was going to be a great couple of seasons. But unfortunately, they had to truncate that one down too.
F you, Les Moonves.
Right?
You're an ace-hole.
You're an ace-hole. Whatever. I don't even think Les is even part of that anymore, so hopefully...
No, but he was responsible.
Retired.
He was responsible for the cancellation of Enterprise.
Fuck him.
He robbed the world of Bacula. I'm sorry for yelling.
So here's something that here's a movie that got a sequel that was, in my opinion, not loved by everybody. First one, awesome. Second one, maybe not much. And we're talking about The Kingsman, right?
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of Matthew Vaughn. In fact, I was hoping Matthew Vaughn would do a Superman movie, but that's neither here nor there. But The Kingsman is a prequel. So everybody's like, and this was supposed to come out during pandemic, and stuff happened. But it looks really good. Now, I'm a fan of the first one. The second one didn't land for me as much as the first one, but this one really looks good. And they did 20th Century Studios, Disney now, gave a legacy special look, and I thought everybody, we should bring it to our viewers. So this is the Kingsman Legacy Special look.
I'm offering you the opportunity to become a Kingsman agent. Like a spy, of sorts. Since 1849, Kingsman tailors have clothed the world's most powerful individuals. By 1919, a great number of them had the desire to preserve peace and protect life. Our founders realized that they could channel wealth and influence for the greater good. And so began Independent intelligence agency operating at the highest level of discretion. The Kingsman Agency.
Welcome to the club.
Very clever.
I love her. Gemma Atherton is awesome.
This movie really is an origin story. This is the foundation of the Kingsman franchise.
Manners make a man.
Spectacular, eh? Oh, yes. Very nice.
We see in this film the formation of the Kingsmen. Get to the lift. The style is very Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew is an amazing storyteller, and he's written something quite powerful.
At the centre of this particular Kingsman film is the First World War, but it still has its recognisable Kingsman element.
Forget your manners.
Oh.
It's got a tailor shop. It's got complicated fight sequences.
There's gadgetry, humour and action and fantastical villains.
It's time to pour fuel on the fire.
Armed and ready. We shall see.
Welcome.
Why is it that boys are always so messy?
You're going to need a suit. Come on.
Wow.
Right? And Rasputin.
Yes.
Rasputin is in the movie. So, yeah, scoring points all over the place for me. I like it. That looks good. I don't know if the movie may be shit, but it looks really good from the trailer.
Well, and I think I think part of the reason why Kingsman 2, Golden Circle, didn't necessarily hit all the marks that I wanted it to is just because the first one was so good and somewhat over the top, self-referential. And that ending with the music for Give It Up by Casey and the Sunshine Band with the people fighting, like everything about that movie is just awesome. And so if they can do something that sort of twists World War I into some sort of exciting, crazy, over-the-top ending, or even an action scene sort of like the church scene with Colin Firth.
Such a good one, yeah, right.
And if they can do that with the older music and sort of maintain the period, Ray Fiennes, I love Tom Hollander, I love Digimon Hansu, absolutely,
Yeah,
and Gemma Arterton,
right.
you're more than welcome. I will buy you a pizza.
All the
But
time.
yes, yeah, that looks. When I first saw the trailer for it, I was like, "What, a Kingsman prequel? I don't know if I want that." But so I haven't touched on any of the promotional material, but that does look okay. Yeah, Rasputin in my face now.
Right? Yeah. So that's coming in December, and we're looking forward to that. So I love that little special look, and it made sense that you said we're kind of taking an origin story approach, and usually when you say origin story, especially in the comic book genre, people are like, "Oh no." Like, oh no, are we really doing that? But
it's not really.
No, it actually within this story, it makes sense to tell how it all began. Right? So, to me, I'm looking forward to it. So December 22nd, I think. Well, check it out.
Oh wow! All right.
So the next piece of news. This is interesting. So The Witcher.
More prequels.
I don't know if you
prequels.
watched, right? I don't know if you watched The Witcher, what I really liked. I thought it was really well done on Netflix. But they're doing a prequel series, and they've cast Michelle Yeoh. And Michelle Yeoh is one of my favorite actors. I love seeing her. I say this all the time. It's hard for me to not like, good actors and actresses. So I always say, oh, one of my favorites. But she is one of my favorites. I love when she pops up. Even in that horrible Star Trek disco, whatever it's called. But she's still amazing in it. I know. Look at you. You're like, you son of a... I know.
I'll let it go.
but she's awesome when she shows up in things. So this is cool. So Michelle Yeoh has joined the prequel series, The Witcher: Blood Origin, which sounds cool to me. I don't know. I haven't read the books, so all I know is I'm sorry, games and books, I think. So I think the series is actually based on the books, not the game. So, and if I'm wrong, please correct me in the chat. But yeah, but I think so. And so, this sounds like cool. I don't know if there's actually like prequel books where this is coming from. They're pulling it from the blood origin from the books, or if this is something totally new. But casting Michelle Yeoh, I mean, how do you go wrong with that? You can't, right?
Star Trek Discovery, but
well, no, that's not her fault.
No, it's not her fault, and I'm not throwing the blame at her feet. But as soon as you bring up Discovery, and I'll tell you what, my blood curdles.
She's one of the best parts of that show, in my opinion, anyways. So.
I guess if you think so, I'll take your word for it. Like I find Emperor Georgiou to be intolerable.
Well, because she's written horribly. That's why.
Oh, and name it, aside from Saru, name a character, but we're not here to bitch about Discovery. If you're a fan of The Witcher, then they are going forth with the prequel series, and she is an incredible actress. I've enjoyed her ever since I saw her in Tomorrow Never Dies. Underrated Bond flick. I liked her in Crouching Tiger. Although I had my weirdest dubbing to subtitles experience ever. I was trying to figure out the difference between subtitles and dubbing when I watched it, and I was switching back and forth, and it was so strange because the dialogue that was going on in the movie, it was like they had mismatched it in the. So I ended up having to watch the subtitled version so I could get a fuller sense of the story. But she's fantastic, and it was such a strange experience going through. It's like we already covered this in the dubbed version like 10 minutes ago, and they're reusing the anyway. Who knows? Who knows?
That's interesting. But
Michelle Yeoh fans rejoice, and also if she's on The Witcher, maybe that means that she'll be staying away from anything Section 31 related. That'll be great.
We'll see. No,
it's not her fault.
Yeah, and I think we're getting that anyways.
Yeah, I think we are, whether we like it or not. Moving on. Let's talk about a teddy bear.
Paddington 3 leads Studio Canal slate revealed at Cannes. So I've heard it pronounced many different ways, and I'm pretty bad with English, even though it's my native language. But I think it's Cannes or Cannes.
I think it's Cannes.
All right. So Studio Canal CEO Anna Marsh said that the principal photography on the anticipated project would commence in the second quarter of 2022. Now, I have not seen either one of these movies. Paddington 1 or 2. I have heard from a bunch of people that these are great movies. Not only are they great, they're putting it in the pantheon of if Paddington 3 lives up to 1 and 2, up there with like the Godfather sequel and other trilogies that Lord of the Rings and that kind of height, which is amazing. I mean, I don't know because I'm not familiar with the property. But I do like Ted. But a fun movie that's actually well written and it happens to be a teddy bear who talks. Okay, I'm down.
Well, and I know I've spoken to a bunch of people who are absolutely dyed-in-the-wool Paddington fans, and I just found out about Paddington 3, and I know that they'll be super jazzed to find out that there is a Paddington 3. But for a long time, wasn't Paddington 2 like a perfect movie on Rotten Tomatoes, or one of the best reviewed movies of the year that it came out? I don't have that off the top of my head, but a heartwarming family movie that everyone can get behind, I think, is something that is very needed and not full of pop culture references and almost timeless. And these are the things that I've heard about it. I haven't sat down to watch them, but I do have a niece, and she does like teddy bears. So maybe I'll be able to find a rainy afternoon and babysit, give her mom a break, and then we can watch some Paddington and have some marmalade.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a Sunday afternoon movie that just makes your heart feel good.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm totally down with that. So bring on Paddington 3, right?
Yes.
Next up is Gerard Butler's Greenland 2 sells for a whopping $75 million.
Your dad's favorite actor gets a sequel. Yep.
I mean, wow.
So do you know anything about Greenland?
I didn't watch Greenland.
Well, what do you know what it's about?
I have no idea.
It's about like Gerard Butler. Don't they have like an arc at the end of the world kind of thing? And it's in Greenland. It's like a vault, kind of like a Fallout vault, or like a bunker to stop from an asteroid. I don't know. I don't know what it's about. I know Gerard Butler is in it. I know Gerard Butler is in a bunch of movies. I don't know what any of them are about. I think he's in one that's on a submarine with Linda Cardellini. 300 was great.
Doesn't he save the president a bunch of times in these movies? Yeah.
Like Olympus Has Fallen, and is it that one or is it the other one?
Oh, yeah. I think I don't know. I think he's in all of them. But
I don't know, because there was the other one that had, the guy with the stuff. Jamie Foxx was the president, but in the other one, the other guy's the president. I don't know. Aaron Eckhart. I don't know. I can't keep track of Gerard Butler. But hey, apparently people saw Greenland well enough, and they got a sequel.
Dude, so, as reported by Deadline, STX is stumping around $25 million for domestic rights in a deal cut with Euros or blah blah blah. Who cares?
All right.
Yeah, wow, 70. That's a good day at the office for Gerard Butler, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm glad that he's still getting work. Now, in terms of Gerard Butler, did you ever see movie 43 when he played the leprechaun?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, and even like P.S. I Love You, he's been in a bunch of stuff. Like,
yeah. No, he's great, but he's starting to be in that Stallone kind of category. Remember when Stallone just did this one kind of cookie cutter movie every time, kind of like phoning it in, kind of like Bruce Willis does now with his direct-to-VOD movies.
Well, I don't know if Greenland got a sequel and is getting the distribution deals that it's getting. I don't know if it's fair to level the accusation of phoning it in to Jerry. But
fair enough. I don't think he's phoning it in. Fair enough. I'll give you that.
But but he is definitely, he's not as old as Liam Neeson, but Liam Neeson has got that sort of geriatric action movie guy going on, and Gerard Butler is still the guy who's older than me, so I find him to be the man. And so it goes back to that theory of when your action heroes stop. When the action heroes become younger than you are, then you stop caring as much about the action. You want someone to aspire to and look up to, and Gerard Butler is still there. So. And hey, he still works for it, and I congratulate the man.
Yeah. Hats off. So here's a. So this is going. I pulled this little clip for a certain couple of really good fans of the show, friends of ours that love the show, and I have watched the Transformers Netflix movies and thought they were great. I wasn't a big Transformers guy, but I love these particular movies. The War for Cybertron movies are really good. And so the trailer dropped for this I guess it's a trilogy, right? And I think it's called Kingdom. Yeah, it's called Kingdom. So let's check it out if you don't mind me. Placating the fans a little bit, I guess.
Show me some robots. Show me some robots that change into stuff.
Yeah. So that happened, right? Well, fucking hey, man, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, and I see, and I've already spoken of my sort of reluctance to get into Beast Wars, but it just clicked in me watching that just now, and it was like, you know what? Maybe we don't need all that many humans in a Transformers movie. Right? Maybe that's what I don't want in my Transformers movies is people.
Yeah,
and
and just to interrupt, I think some of the coolest stuff, even in the live action films, is the shit on Cybertron. So, it doesn't have to be. I loved Bumblebee. I thought Bumblebee was great. It was a girl in her car story, and I thought it was fucking fabulous. But I think for the mainline Transformers movies, let's go back to Cybertron, or like what this is doing. Go back to a time when there's not a bunch of human beings, trying to, do human being stuff,
Well, and the Transformers get to focus more on their mission as opposed to having to be like, save the humans. And it's like, no, don't save the humans. Find the Allspark and fight each other. There's a dinosaur. That's cool.
Right. And then remember on the show last week or the week before, we were talking about what is this Beast Wars? How do they, how do these Autobots or Transformers inform themselves enough to, become these beast characters, right? And it shows you. I think we're going to get a little bit of. We're going to get a look behind the curtain there. And we're going to see this is why when they land here in that certain time period, what they see they mimic, right? Yeah.
Well, and now this is the third one in the trilogy.
Yes. Yeah.
So the first two are already on Netflix,
and they're really good, dude. You should, if you care enough, you should go watch them. I liked them. I thought they were really good.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. One more thing before we get to chats. We have some cool people in the chat. Hey, the Richard. Hey, Terje. Dan Connolly. Yeah. And we'll get to you real quick, but I did want to do, so I pulled one more thing for fans. I'm not a big gamer, right? I'm just not. Right, I know
I'm not a big gamer, but I like
you play. Yeah, play, and I love watching people play cool games. But this because it ties into movies, I thought, well, let's bring this on, and I think our audience would like this RoboCop Rogue City game trailer. I'm like, yeah, because it was pretty cool. So here's RoboCop Rogue City. This dropped today.
Top story, Old Detroit. Crime has escalated to new heights. Authorities are overwhelmed. OCP insists the situation is under control. But the question remains, who or what will send these crooks on the run and restore peace to all citizens once and for all?
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
So I know there's not a lot of gameplay and there's not a lot of cutscenes to watch, but I thought, you know what? That's cool. So,
well, and
if it grabs my attention, I'm like, yeah, I'm hoping that, our audience would like that too.
Well, and it's interesting just as a reveal trailer. It's too bad that there isn't any gameplay. I'm curious because as you were describing it and talking about it, I'm sort of thinking it's like, would it be a first person? Would it be a third person? I don't even know how that would work. My experience with RoboCop games has been like from the side scrollers from the 80s and 90s. RoboCop versus Terminator. But those licensed properties, those licensed games, I grew up on those, and I loved being able to play like Alien versus Predator or the Aliens games. And so with a RoboCop game, there hasn't been one in a while that I can remember. And so it looks well. I look forward to it. It doesn't look like anything except for a title so far. But hey, if you have OCP and RoboCop running around Old Detroit, I will, come with me, or there will be trouble.
There will be. And if it's good, I'll watch your Twitch stream, I suppose.
Yeah, all right, hopefully by 2023 we have a Twitch, yes.
Right. Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We will do that. Absolutely. I'll get on that, like tomorrow or the next day.
Have you been to our Twitter? You should follow us on Twitter. We never go there.
You should absolutely follow us on Twitter. We just post our shows, but we will engage if you engage us.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And we love your comments. And so, getting to comments, I'm gonna let Scotty. I'm gonna let you read the comments today, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Not at all. So Terj Tiberius Mork, hello, ahoy, greetings. Thank you for commenting. He says Val is great, and I actually met him once. You met him? Holy wow!
Oh, that's cool.
He is a totally underrated as Batman, and he has done so many great roles. Love that guy. Top secret.
Oh,
that's all I have to say.
Come on, yeah, dude. That's all you have to say. Such a good movie. Such a good role for him too. It's funny.
Damn, Connolly says, "Hey guys, hey damn, I haven't seen you in forever, and I know that's mostly my fault, but thank you for dropping in and saying hello." In my experience, when HBO shows have intentionally wrapped up the show, i.e., when they knew the show was coming to an end, they've made a complete bollocks of it. Entourage, Game of Thrones, Sex and the City. Yeah. So maybe pulling the plug before it's actually done is a good idea.
I mean, he's not wrong, because like I said before on the show, it's hard to wrap up a show. It's hard to do a send-off show. The best one ever of all time is the Star Trek Next Generation one.
Okay, yes.
It was so well done that I think it's in the pantheon of TV shows ending. That is one, if not the best one. All good things, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it is certainly in my top 3.
Yeah. I do. So this is. I know a lot of people are going to disagree, but I like the Galactica one too. I thought the ending was great in Galactica. A lot of people didn't, which is fine. But so I like that one too. So.
And Tersh is back saying, Kingsman! The 2 first were great, so will the 3rd. Hey, okay. So there are Golden Circle fans.
Yeah. I didn't like it as much as the first one. I just
still not terrible, but it's not going to be a rewatch.
I know. I thought the story lacked. It was just lacking. And hopefully, from what I've seen so far, redeem. we get some redemption, and this one looks like a great story. So we'll see how that works out.
The Richard says, "Aloha, cats, ahoy, sir! It's good to see you, the Richard. I want to go deep on MOTU, Masters of the Universe."
Oh yeah, well, the Richard's a huge Masters of the Universe fan, and yeah, I'm down. Let's have a conversation about it. I'm totally down.
Well, we could. I don't know if it's when Masters of the Universe drops. Is it going to be released weekly or is it going to be bingeable?
Don't know.
Neither do I.
I'm not sure.
But I can watch some.
It's Netflix, so they have been experimenting with doing a time drop release, but I don't think so. I think usually on Netflix right now, at least for right now, you're getting a whole season or series or whatever.
Well, it's definitely something, again, sort of in the same toy aisle as Transformers for me as a kid with Masters of the Universe. And so when that does come out, I like Kevin Smith, not as much as I used to, but I still like him. I still seek out what he does. And so I will check it out. And from the trailers that I've seen, it looks like He-Man's going to fight Skeletor, and that's pretty much what I go for in my Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah. And then Richard says, "Get off my plane." And no, we should never bring up movie 43. You're absolutely correct.
You're absolutely 100% right.
Doesn't somebody have a scrotum for a chin in that movie? No, like for real. It's on the back of the line.
Actually, yeah.
That's
an
he wears an
thing.
ascot, and whatever. Anyway, Terj greets the Richard. I'm glad that you guys like each other. That's fantastic news. I always like to go deep on Masters of the... I think we're just going to say Motu. It's the only way.
Of course he goes deep.
Terj says, "I'll be your resident Transformers expert, Steve."
I'm totally down with that, dude. So down with that. Because I am not... you and Todd Michael are the resident experts with all things Transformers, and I'm pretty happy about that.
The Richard says, "Great show. Check you guys tomorrow." Well, yeah,
Thanks,
we look forward to seeing
buddy.
you, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Yes, thank you
Thanks
very
for coming
much.
by, and we really do appreciate your patronage.
Tersh says, "RoboCop, Rouge City." Unless that was a typo,
Wow.
Richie. It was supposed to be Rogue. What is it? Don't care. I'd buy that for $100. Yes.
Right?
I'd buy that
That's
for
what I
$80.
said. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be good or not, because I'm not a gamer. I don't really know, but it looked cool.
It can't be worse than RoboCop 3.
And dude, the reveal at the end, it was just like the old school trailer, back in the 80s.
Yep.
I mean, okay, you got my attention.
And
just make an awesome game.
Damn, Connolly says, "Twitter, I barely know her."
I barely know her either.
And The Sopranos was dreadful. Damn goes on. But
really?
after reflection and a few rewatches, I'm at peace with The Sopranos. But I believe the writer, David something, knew how he was going to end it really early on in the writing. And yeah,
I think so too. Yeah, you're right about that.
You never hear the one that gets you.
Right. I really like The Sopranos, and we did a reaction and review to the Many Saints of Newark, and that looks fascinating. It looks really good. Usually, I don't go in for those kind of, like I said, it's a prequel movie to a TV show, and I mean that might be the first one ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
oh wait, no. Fire Walk with Me. The Twin Peaks movie was a prequel.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay,
but if you do,
but those might be two in the history of film, right? Yeah.
Sure. And don't watch Fire Walk with Me before you start watching the rest of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
It is not a true prequel. It's more of a spiritual look back after you've seen the show, so that it fills in some of the gaps. But it is a prequel.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I stand corrected, but yeah, I think those are maybe the two ever. There's probably more, and comment and you leave us a comment if you know more of them. That'd be a cool little Google research homework for you.
And then Dam continues on in terms of The Sopranos. Sorry, I'm at the ending of The Sopranos.
A lot of people hate the ending of Sopranos. I thought it ended brilliantly because it was kind of, you knew it was going to happen, but they didn't show it, right? And then, you get the black screen. I don't know. I thought it was good. One of my favorite TV shows is Dexter. And they really shit the bed on that. Trying to wrap that one up. That finale was horrible. But now
what I understand,
it lives up. Yeah, yes, Scott, please. It's living on, right?
It is, and that's what I was just going to say, is that they are going to try and bring it back and redeem it to a certain extent, or maybe just continue the story. But I can understand being disappointed with the end of Sopranos, just in terms of enjoying knowing that, okay, did they die? If, in terms of the main character, or knowing that they are still out there having more adventures or living their lives, and having the comfort of a finale, or sort of riding off into the sunset as a conclusion to any story. And I do go ahead.
I think the ambiguity is probably what people are most upset about. I kind of like it. I mean, I thought it fit not only the character but the show overall, and I could be wrong. It's all subjective, but
it is interesting to go back and check out those finales when you're not anticipating each episode, and you're in the middle of it, and then you can go back and revisit it if it is one of your favorite shows, and then you watch how the context of the finale works with the rest of the show, or doesn't work. And I guess it is. You get emotionally invested in the characters and the story, and if you do just sort of have a cut to black during Don't Stop Believing, it can be a little jarring and not what you wanted.
But like you and I always say, it's hard to stick the landing on these things. It just is. making TV shows and movies is hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But
yeah.
So then wrapping it up and sticking the landing is, I mean, it not only is it an art of its own and of itself, it's just got to be hard to do, especially, and maybe sometimes your heart just isn't in it anymore after 7 seasons or whatever, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And
I mean, I hope that's not the case, but.
Well, but it's also when you find a logical conclusion. I recently watched the Quentin Tarantino Joe Rogan interview, and Joe Rogan talks to Tarantino about 10 being his number of how many movies he's gonna have, and Joe goes on to say, yeah, but it's kind of a bummer. And Tarantino basically says, you don't get to tell me when I'm done. I get to tell me when I'm done. It's not up to you.
Right.
And it's just an interesting sort of, if that's the way that the showrunner envisioned the end of Tony Soprano, or at least the audience's connection with Tony Soprano, maybe there would have been an indignity to seeing him die or be a schlubby family man who's continuing on with his nefarious deeds.
Yeah, correct. So, you want to read these last two?
Sure, absolutely. And so, damn, you're back. I love how it can it's not swearing, YouTube, it's his name.
Yeah.
Whatever. I loved the show, but the ending is what I was talking about when I said it was dreadful.
No, okay, I know. And you're not obviously you're not wrong, but you're not alone. A lot of people think and feel the same way. So, and I get it. I understand. Just for me, it just hit me in the. I felt it was a perfect ending for his character. I think he dies. I think he got fucking back. But there is no right or wrong answer, right?
Mm-hmm. And then I think finally, as we go, Dan says, Scott and I have talked about this before. We probably have, but I love when TV shows follow the bad guy, but when you end up loving them and kind of having sympathy for them. Tony Soprano, Walter White, Dexter. Bad guys you root for, great TV show writing. Well, heck, even, and I know this isn't one that you've seen, but Don Draper is not a good man.
Right.
He is a philandering dick. Literally, his name is Dick. And
Sons of Anarchy, same thing. These aren't heroes. They're flawed, fucked up people that are, but they're presented in a way that, like you said, that you get sympathy for them, like a. What do you call
pathos?
Like not a reluctant hero, but they're like an anti-hero in a way. Yes, anti-hero. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And those are some of my favorite shows. Sopranos. Dexter. You know, they're great. I love those shows.
I've only seen the first season of Breaking Bad, I know, but I've only seen the first season, and watching that evolution just within the first season to see how Walter White can go from a milquetoast science teacher, car wash employee, to the time when at the end of the first season with his first real hit on everyone and seeing his emotional reaction, you understand and you sort of sympathize, even though he is doing horrible things. Yeah, and I'm sure it gets even worse. But we can talk about my Breaking Bad issues at a later date.
Oh, there's so much goodness in that in subsequent
seasons,
dude. Oh man, Brian Johnson has a couple of really good episodes. You love it.
And I've heard that they're standouts. Yes.
Yeah. I love that show. I was late to the party on that one too.
Huh. Well,
it took a bunch of people on the interwebs to tell me, all right, go fucking watch the show. I'm like, all right.
Can you imagine living in the 70s and not having a VCR, and the only way that you would be able to rewatch television shows or anything, it would be just through reruns, or maybe if you get to, like, the only way you'd be able to see a James Bond movie is if it was on the ABC Sunday night movie.
Or you had like 4 channels.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah, it sucked.
So now go watch.
We live in a day and age where it's a plethora of amazing, especially for like comic book nerds and comic book movies or just genre film in general. We live in a golden age of these amazing not only properties, books, or comic books, graphic novels, coming to us in all these different platforms that, man, it's just, it's like it's just a riches, this is the manna from heaven almost.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it is fantastic. And I would say, if you are, and to go against what Steve just said, but like we do have a plethora across the board. But if you aren't interested in any of the stuff that's coming up now and nothing's really tickling your fancy, don't forget there's 100 years of film history and about 60, 70 years of television history that you can go through. There is going to be something that blows your mind.
And going to your point, now you can just go on your Amazon or your Prime or your Netflix and find all of this really good old school TV shows that you might have missed.
Yeah.
Because because life happens.
Have you rewatched the films? Are there holes in your Richard Donner filmography that you haven't caught yet?
Yeah. Go back.
It was a good time.
Those. Yeah.
That was a good time.
Honor
the man.
We got one more from Dan.
And Dan says you had a greater chance of meeting Sir Roger Moore. Was he a sir? Anyway, Roger Moore than seeing a Bond movie if you missed it in the cinema. Absolutely. And that's when the re-releases would happen. And you would get even after, in the 60s, they would do the triple bill where it would be Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger. And that was what your theater played for a week. And it was like, all right, I guess they're doing the James Bond marathon this week because it was the only place that you'd be able to catch up and see. And whenever they had the subsequent movies in those series, they would re-release the older ones so that you could either catch up or revisit. And it's great. Yeah. And say the pandemic has been terrible, and it's obviously, but to have some of those older movies come back to theaters and drive-ins and be able to see those as they were intended to see on the big screen in cinema is a great opportunity as well.
All right. Well, the gardener is here. So you can my apologies for that. Yeah, when you live in an apartment building and you're at their whim. But I think we'll end the show for today. Scotty, as always, I absolutely love having these shows and doing this show with you. So thank you very much for your
it is my pleasure
and co-hosting abilities. And thank you everybody in the chat. Please like and subscribe and do all those things. It really helps our channel grow. And for Scotty R37, I am Steve Foley, and have a great day, everybody.
See you guys. Go watch Die Another Day again.